All right, welcome back to Shed Talk with Kevin Halliday. And if you're a man listening right now and you've ever thought, I should be grateful, so why do I still feel off? This episode is for you. My guest today is Brad Vanderwall. And Brad's story matters because he's been living open about living with mental health struggles for a long time. He's a kind of a man willing to say it out loud so other men don't have to go alone in it. He's also involved with Gameday Mens Health, which is part of this bigger conversation. Men getting the support before things break, energy, mood, confidence, and overall health. So today isn't about being tough. It's about being honest, getting the right tools, and building a life where you don't have to silently carry it. Brad, welcome to Shed Talk. Creating curiosity by asking better questions. This is Shed Talk. All right, Brad, thanks for being here.
Hey, man, love being here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, this is great. You know what? I was on your profile and I saw Gameday Mens Health, and I kept thinking Gameday Mental Health.
Yeah, sure.
So tell me a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so Gameday Mens Health, we started truthfully, like I was in real estate for a long time. I had like a genuine midlife crisis. And I was 42, and everybody's, you're too young. I'm like, well, if I lived to 84, that's midlife, right? Okay. And in real estate for a long time, I kept trying to look at stuff, and then I found something with purpose. I'm a big believer of mental health. And then I'll tell you the shorter story is I started asking a bunch of my friends, hey, you know, because it's a TRT clinic, peptides. We deal with ED. We have a lot of ED patients.
What's ED?
Erectile dysfunction.
Okay.
So like full disclosure, like I've been on Cialis with ED for 20 years now. So like I've just had a problem in the bedroom mentally. So it was just seeing all these things and be able to help a bunch of men. It was like my next passion project, so to speak. So when we looked at everything, I started asking my friends, and I said, hey, I'm thinking of starting this TRT thing. And they're like, man, between you and I might get emotional, which I probably will because they're good friends of mine. They're like, yeah, I was suicidal because my T was so low. And now that I'm on it, I'm back at the gym. I've lost a bunch of weight and I hadn't seen him in a few months. I'm like, okay, this is all starting to make sense. And I asked another guy, and then another guy told me 2 guys out of 5 admitted to me that they had thought of harming themselves, and it was all based on low T.
But how do they know they have low T?
So they go to the doctor and you just get it. Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm an entrepreneur, right? So if you ask me some medical questions, I probably don't have the exact answer, and I don't want to misinform people, but it's just a simple blood draw that'll tell you what your testosterone is. So there was these doctors that were making it hard, and they had low T, very low T. Like I joked around, like, you're a chick. Like, it's very low, or mentally it's just like they were growing boobs.
So having a mental state, then all of a sudden they're like that and they're feeling like they're growing boobs, and all of a sudden mentally feeling that.
Oh, man. And then my one buddy, he ended up getting cancer too. Like, it was, so there's some people have gone through it. And I think the testosterone bout is like, he was really low, and a lot of doctors think that it causes cancer, and all that's been debunked. So I don't really want to blame the doctors, because the doctors, most of them are obviously, they're a bunch older. It's hard to get in. To educate yourself on everything is very hard to do, right? So they're just uneducated on it. The stuff that they thought 40 years ago or 30 years ago has been proven that it's not like that anymore. But doctors still haven't educated themselves on this. So we want to come in and educate it. And that's why for us, which is awesome, is if you're over the age of about 25 or 30, in our clinic, there's no barrier of entry to come get your blood drawn. So like we want you to know where you're at. You may not want to take our treatments, but we want you to know where you're at for your testosterone, because you could be lethargic, you could be angry, you can't sleep. Like we have so many stories in the clinic where people come in and hug us. We have wives calling our clinic and crying, saying, I got my husband back. He asked me out on a date for the first time in 2 years. This one guy's like, I haven't cleaned my garage in 18 years, and I finally did. I could sit here the whole half hour and tell you cool stories. So it feels my soul.
Yeah. So, okay. So when you first started here, we were talking, and you said, you know what, I'm going to go back because you hit low.
I did many times, of course. Yeah.
So what was that time that you hit low that made that sudden change to all of a sudden, because now you're doing Gameday Mens Health.
That's right.
Okay. You started that up or worked with that. However you did that. But there had to be a point there all of a sudden where it becomes that enough is enough. Here I'm down in the valley of death, And what made you get out? Because a lot of guys right now, they're in the hole. People say, "Oh, suck it up, don't be a baby, be a
Sure.
man." You hear that story, and then guys are going, "You know what? This isn't easy. I don't know how to get out of this." How did you recognize it?
I'm going to tell you too quickly because it's happened. I've had a collapse a few times, but I'll give you the big ones. So one I had when I was young, I didn't feel I had a purpose, and I was about 20 years old. I actually had such bad depression that I slept for 22 hours a day. They couldn't figure out what my problem was. I went down to 135 pounds. Like you see it and I look like a skeleton and I'm like, I thought I had cancer. I thought I had all these other things. I was at an all-time low. I was sleeping relentlessly for that. Truthfully, I got on antidepressants. That's the only thing that helped me. Again, I'm not suggesting that people do that, but that is what helped me. And I got out of it and then I turned it around and then I started building my empire and all this stuff. But then I crashed again whenever I was about 30. For me, what I'm realizing my crashes were is when I lose purpose for me. It's like, oh my God, what am I doing? It's my body almost telling me like, you're not doing what you should be. And then I went and I did that. And then I started in real estate and kind of built it up. But it was so bad when I started real estate. My anxiety was so bad. It's still like PTSD because it was so bad. It's like I was having a heart attack throughout the whole day. Most people's panic attacks stop after like 30 seconds, a few minutes. Mine didn't stop. So my doctor referred me to a panic attack specialist. And I sat with him 3 times in 4 days. And at the end of the 4 days, he looked at me, he's like, I don't know if I can help you. And I'm like, oh, so a panic attack therapist can't help me? I'm doomed.
So what is a panic? So what is your panic? What is that panic attack?
Sure. So for me, a panic attack is, I don't know where it comes from. I still don't. And my therapist, I've had the same one for 13 years. We can't figure it out. It's probably some trauma in the past, but I don't have any that I can think of, right? My family was great. So you come in and it instantly gets at you and it literally feels like you're having a heart attack. I cannot describe it anything else than like I'm dying of a heart attack and I don't have the ability to get out of it. I stay in that spot and then you live in that spot. When I started in real estate, I was having panic attacks so bad. I was showing houses and I would pull over on the side of the road and puke and have to keep going. So it's not fun. I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
So would you say like a panic attack would be like, oh, so you're going to a sales call? Okay.
Sure.
Would it be the anxiety of the sales call, being nervous?
No, like it can come out of anywhere. I can wake up. I can wake up in the middle of the night. And that's the thing. Luckily, I think it was, looking back, I don't have an answer to that, but my therapist has helped me for 13 years. I don't have them very often anymore, very rarely. I can't tell you a full-blown one, truthfully, that hasn't been since I've been hungover is the honest truth. I haven't had one in years. I've been fortunate to get rid of that. And I don't have the answer to that, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
It can be any time.
Yeah. Now, going into, so you started talking about your panic attacks and then you're getting into it. Now, you're gone to the doctor, and I'm basing this around men because a lot of men, okay, I'm not feeling good. Okay, something's wrong. I'm going to go check out my TRT or my testosterone.
Yeah.
I'm going to test everything. But when does it and how does it come to be important to actually go to a therapist? Like what made you decide and how did you pick one?
So I had one at first that was decent. And then I went to a second one. I guess what made me decide, everybody should. So I look at therapists and I'll give a prime story on why I believe everybody should have a therapist. Love my father-in-law. Hopefully he's okay with me telling the story. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law passed away and a couple of years ago. And he was obviously having a hard time. I think they've been together since they were 16 years old. And I said, Dan, you should see a therapist. And he's like, no, makes me weak. All these things. I'm like, and I asked him, I am going to cry. Because he's like the best. And he was going through so much shit. And I said, Dan, I've had a therapist for 13 years. Does this make me weak? And he's like, no. He's like, I don't experience you as weak. I said, so my challenge for you, Dan, is you're very smart. I said, were you born with the skill set to cope with your wife passing away? And he's like, well, no, I wasn't born with that skill set. Of course not. I said, well, therapists can help you acquire that skill set. So look at it more as learning. Therapy doesn't have to be that you're crying 24/7, which a lot of people think. I go to therapy to learn a skill set that I don't have. And that's the biggest thing is when I'm going to therapists, trying to solve problems, I don't have this skill set. I look at it as a learning exercise as opposed to a sympathy exercise for myself personally.
So how do you find the right one? Or how did you find the
Sure,
right
I
one?
got lucky. Honestly, I do believe it's luck. I got lucky. My doctor at the time referred me to somebody and they were fantastic. I think that if you get nothing from therapy in 3 sessions, you have to give it at least 3. It's probably not the right fit. From a lot of people I've talked to who do see therapists and have changed, is after 3, if you don't feel a connection and they're helping you, I think you should probably look. However, if you're feeling challenged and you're uncomfortable, that's probably the right one. Because some people leave their therapist because they're too challenged. They're like, I know. Well, that's why you're there, right? So my caution to that would be is if you feel a little anxious or you're talking to them and you feel challenged, that's probably the right one because they're challenging you to bring stuff up that's in there. And it's going to be hard. Like, it's not easy. You're not taking a walk in the park with your wife and your dog, right? Like, it's very hard to do this and it's a lot of work. But if you want to get better, it just makes such a difference.
So going to the therapist for the first time,
Yeah.
How did that feel? For the first time?
Yeah, for the first time, I would say, how did it feel? I was at such a low, I was willing to try anything, right? Like, I would have tried anything. So I went and honestly, like, I was younger. I was in my early 20s. So I would say, like, there's probably some shame to it. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, why am I here? And what am I doing? And maybe you're embarrassed. But as I've grown and I'm 45 now, like, I get excited. Like, when my therapist is in my calendar, I'm like, you can tell today I'm on top of the world today because I saw her yesterday. I'm banging. Like, let's go. Let's do whatever we want. So it just helps me so much. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but for me, that's what a big thing is, a part of it.
Okay, so now you've been to therapy.
Yeah.
Obviously. And then all of a sudden,
100%.
what made you start the actual or work with Gameday Mens Health? Because I want to go back to that. Like, why all of a sudden, yes, you went to therapy. Yes, you had issues.
Sure.
But why?
So why did I go to Game Day?
Yeah.
It was, again, going, like, I legitimately had a midlife crisis. We had our son. Then my mother-in-law passed away a few months later. And then I started to hate real estate. And, like, it was very challenging because, you know, not to be that guy, but I was one of the top realtors in North America. Like, one of the years before I quit, we sold 1,500 homes. Like, that's insane, right? But I started hating it. When the phone would ring, anxiety. Everything gave me anxiety. And then I'm just like, anxiety that would go away. Not a panic attack, but like anxiousness. Like, I don't want to deal with it. And truthfully, between you and I'd worked 80 to 100 hours a week for 15 years. I just was done with it. And then a friend of mine who lives in England said, real estate makes millionaires, private equity makes billionaires. So I was like, wow, okay, tell me more about that. He's like, you should buy businesses. So, you know, this was about February last year. I kind of went and I just started looking at businesses. I probably looked at 1,000 different ones. I had offers on some. I learned a lot about different offers and I was kind of getting back in my groove. And then I came across Game Day. And, you know, they didn't sell it very well. They're like, hey, you know, you come in, you have staff. I'm like, I don't want staff. Like, I'm a terrible manager of people, good leader, but terrible manager, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then, they kind of pitched it to me wrong. And then she's like, well, hey, no, you only have nurses. I'm like, oh, okay. So I only have nurses. Well, they're great. Yeah, let's do that. And it's small. So like most of our clinics have 5 or 6 employees. So it's nothing crazy. I'm like, that I can handle. Flew down to Carlsbad is where Game Day's headquarters is. Decided to take all the locations in Calgary. So there's 7 of them that we're going to end up opening up. We have 2 open right now. 3rd one opens on Monday. 4th one opens in July, and then we open up Kelowna. So that's kind of my journey. And the super cool thing too is like I get to do it with 2 of my best friends. Mm-hmm. It's like Dallas, who's one of the owners too, and Russ, like they're my best friends. You get to work every day with your best friends, and it's fun. It's super cool. Like very, very fortunate. Yeah, it's going good.
So now that you're in that business as the entrepreneur going in there, because now mental health becomes a big topic right now, and I call it like what's trending. Because when we look at Gen Z, we go through, and here we are, fast forward to today, men's health or mental health in perspective is high.
Right.
Like I would say it's kind of one of these funky things we talked, what's trending out there in society? Mental health.
For sure.
And men's mental health is lagging behind women's and stuff. I'm not saying they're bad.
Yeah.
It's all good. we need to be actually out there more. And with an organization with what you're doing with Gameday Mens Health, that's one of those things that you're at the cusp of the training to start and getting men get your Cialis checked out, get this thing out, and how important that is. Now, how important is Cialis? Because you said I've been on it, time.
So I think for me is the truth is that like full disclosure, like I've been with my wife for 10 years. We've maybe had sex 10 to 12 times in that amount of time without me being on it. And the challenge it was in the beginning of our relationship was because she'd be intimate and I knew that it wasn't going to work. I would kind of push her away. And then, so I did that for so long and we've had the discussion since, but like, that'd be hard for a female to do that. Is it me? Is it me? I'm like, no, it's me. But we'd only been dating for not too long. So we hadn't quite connected like that yet. And yeah, I would say that it's hilarious because hilarious isn't the right word, but I dealt with it for so long. It is what it is I only take a 5 milligram, which is like really smaller ones. Mm-hmm. That's just enough to me. And then I'm fine. Cause it is all mental. Like I can wake up and be fine for an hour and it can, I'll have an erection for an hour. But then if she's like, hey, let's do this. He's like, no, I'm going to sleep. So a lot of men don't talk about it and aren't comfortable enough. And our treatments are fantastic. Like we have some guys that come in for ED that literally in six treatments, not Cialis, there's a different mechanism, are back again. And to me, it was mind-boggling when I went to Carlsbad. There's a shockwave machine. Basically, it's a shockwave machine you put on your penis that helps you get an erection, right? It breaks the plaque in it. And then I'm like...
What do you mean by plaque?
Well, it's like if you get older, it's just like, basically, it's like if you have a clogged hose,
right?
And your hose is clogged, it'll help unclog the hose. So that's kind of what the issue is with it, right? For some men. I didn't know that. So when I went toured the facility, the shockwave system, he's like, yeah, this helps with ED. And then this was when I was deciding whether or not I was going to open these clinics. And then he said, no, the shockwave helps with ED. I'm like, well, just give him Cialis. And he looked at me, he's like, there's lots of men that even with Cialis can't get an erection. And that blew my mind. I'm like, what? And then think about that. If you can't be intimate with your wife or yourself, like that's a dark hole. I'm like, okay, I definitely more leaning towards opening these clinics because let's give them an option to feel like men again and to go and do this, right? Because I suffered from it, so I understood it, but I had a solution.
Hey, take a minute and smash that subscribe button, and let's get back to the episode. Let's dive this for a second because all of a sudden you brought this up.
Yeah.
And when I talk about men's mental health, and here's a prime example, getting an erection, and then all of a sudden a lot of guys, okay, I'll just use the blue pill and I'm ready to go. And then wait, there must be something wrong with me. Or is it my bladder cancer? There must be something else.
Dude, I was 22, so I was fine.
So what are some of the symptoms that guys should be looking for, or actually asking themselves a better question instead of going through the life? And when I'm talking about like guys in their 50s, okay, here they are. Oh yeah, I'm getting old. I'm not sexually motivated. I whatever that storytelling that they say in their head. Yes. What do they recognize that say, hey, did you check this? Did you do this? What are those?
100% go, as an FBR clinic, go anywhere and get your blood taken. And that's so big because 75% of men that come in our clinic have low testosterone. The statistic is insane. So that means there's a really good chance that's what it is. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. So a lot of men don't know where to turn to and they don't know what to do. Number one thing, get your testosterone checked. See what your levels are at. See if that's going to help. And then see what the treatments can be from that. If it's not that, therapist, right? Like work through what that could be. It could be something traumatizing. I remember the exact moment when it messed with me. I was dating this girl, was looking to date this girl. And she said, oh, this guy that I was dating a little while ago, one time couldn't get it up. So I never called him again. And I was like, there's guys that can't. I was 22. I'm like, there's guys that can't get it up. Yeah. Still sticks with me to this day.
Well, excuse me.
No, you're good. Yeah. So I know where it came from. So I think if you're over the age of 50, 100% get your testosterone checked first and then talk to a therapist about it. Like there's sex therapists out there. There's all these different things to help you figure out what it is. And the signs of low T is like low libido, low energy, brain fog, fatigue, like all these things. And if you fix a lot of that stuff, it kind of fixes itself if it's not a mental thing. Because for me, it's a mental thing, not a physical thing. So for some men, it could be a physical thing and not a mental thing where they fix the physical. They don't need the mental. So definitely go and seek a doctor and get some help for sure.
And there's a lot of guys that actually won't even go get help.
100%. Man, we stopped running ED ads like on Facebook for our clinic because nobody would show. We'd get a ton of bookings and they would take time and then they wouldn't show up because for a lot of men, which I understand, it's embarrassing. So yeah, like we used to run tons of ads and get a lot. I don't even know if we ever, let's say we had 300 leads at the time we were watching it. I don't know if we had one come in, less than 1%, maybe 3, because we tracked that. So we're like, hey, well, we can't run ads anymore. It's a waste of money. And then they book a slot in our clinic where nobody else can come in. So it's crazy. It's a touchy subject for a lot of people.
So what would you recommend on a guy? Like, yeah, you say, okay, go get help. And
Sure.
here he is. And all of a sudden, here I am. I'm at home. Whew. I'm not going to talk to my buddies about this.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm not going to talk to my spouse about it. I'm just going to be, oh no, I'm not feeling well. I got a headache, or there's something else. So whatever excuse I story tell in my head.
Yeah, of course.
So, how do you go to the next level?
I think
What is that?
Do you want to choose misery?
Well, how do you choose misery? Like,
But that's what I'm saying. But you're
because
sitting
I'm
there
sitting here
choosing.
and I'm going,
yeah.
okay, here I am. I'm going to have this talk, or who am I going to have that talk with? And all right, I can barely have that talk about, okay, grow up, don't suck it up, don't be a baby. I'm the man, and we're older. Like I'm 57. All of a
Sure.
sudden, I got to look after my kids. I'm this. What are you talking about? I'm a man. Of course, I could get it up.
Yeah.
Ooh, I can't. Like, where does
Sure.
that come into play?
I don't know. Like, I guess it's so situational. Where for me, it'd be like, it's fine. Like, there's so many people that have it. Like, it's normal. It's normal to, like, unfortunately, it's normal to have low testosterone. It's normal to have ED. Like, we have now that, like, so what's happening is we have a lot more ED patients because now our patients start to trust us that came for us for something else. And then now they're coming and talking to us about ED.
Okay, so now let's go, because we're able to bring this in and trying to deep dive this conversation.
Sure.
With when you're ED, how does porn fit into this?
I've never, okay, so for me personally, never.
And I'm not saying it's right or wrong here. So like,
no, it's fine.
But all I'm doing is just saying, okay, well,
Yeah.
as a guy, okay, we're gonna have that conversation and say, okay, I can't get a. Well, maybe I'll have porn.
Sure.
So okay, this or maybe it's my spouse that I'm with or the girl I'm with I'm not attracted to, so that can't happen. Is that a question that happens?
I would think so. If you look at the, like, doctor-wise, probably. Like, I'm not the doctor they'd express that to, but if you want my opinion, yeah. Like, I've never been a big porn guy. Of course, I've watched it, but it's never been a big thing. And especially since I've been married, it's gone down, like, probably the last 4 or 5 years, but I'm also getting older. So that's probably, I'm like, nah, bro, I'm going to go to bed. This is, I'm way too lazy. But I think that if men, yeah, but if you have a porn addiction, again, like, you should probably get to the root of that and seek a
that's
therapist and all that stuff too.
Because guys over 50, guys in 50, 55, and then all of a sudden we talk about mental health.
Yeah.
And then getting it and where they're at is because being a lonely avatar guy. And then all of a sudden because porn gets to be higher up because it's easy access on their phone. So, but then all of a sudden erectile dysfunction, and then and you're adding all these layers on top.
sure.
So it becomes now you're getting hit from all directions. You're like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't get this. And here I am and I want to get a girlfriend, yet I can't.
Yeah.
So what's the next level on those guys?
I don't want to sound like a broken record. I think you got to go to your doctor or a therapist. Like, the truth is that if you're choosing not to help yourself, it'll never get better. Like, would you rather have maybe half an hour of potential embarrassment? Because if that's how you feel, I want to acknowledge that they feel that way because it is how they feel. So like, as a man, if you feel like that's going to cause you some pain or it's going to cause you some distress, I want to acknowledge that that's okay. But think about the years you're going to go by with what's way worse. It's like, will you sit there and be like, hey, speak to a therapist maybe 3 times for an hour and help figure it out, or go talk to a doctor? I was 22 years old when I went to talk to my doctor about Cialis. You're 22. Like, that's hard. Like, now it's just like, look, I'm on a podcast talking about my dick problems. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot different. It's 23 years. I'm like, I don't care. It's fine. Then to me, it was like the world was ending. But I knew that if I didn't get some help, the rest of my life was going to be like that. And if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, you got a long runway ahead. Do you want maybe 5 hours of discomfort to be happy and feel? Whenever you have it, you do feel like, okay, this is great. I can do this. But man, when I couldn't, it was soul crushing.
And it's like the people say, if you're peeing red, Okay.
Yep.
All right. Get your prostate check. Get a
Yeah,
PSA,
PSA
test. And
test,
how
yeah.
many people don't do that? It takes 5 minutes. Just do it, guys. I don't want anybody to touch this. And having bladder cancer.
sure.
So I had bladder cancer
I didn't
years
know that.
ago.
Okay.
So, and one of the things, you're peeing red. As soon as you pee red, oh, you don't feel it. And I talked to my doctor, and he said, you know what? How many guys actually, they'll pee red. Okay. If you're not yellow and it's red, get it checked out. Like, it's not about man. It's one of the fastest cancers. Sorry. One of the best cancers to get because it's the best to cure, but it's the most deadly because a lot of people don't do anything about it.
Which is insane.
Guys, and then they're just go, oh, I'm not having anybody touch my penis. There's no way. And then never mind getting, I can't get it up. So it's letting men, it's okay.
Yes.
Hey, have this conversation and having this right now. Now, to sum this up,
Sure.
Is there one thing that you would tell men out there right now? What's the one thing you would tell them? Or one advice you would like to give away to them?
I would say, again, I'm so harping on therapy, but I just believe in it so much. It's okay not to be okay, but don't be okay for too long, right? Like, don't sit there in your own misery for 6 months, a year. What you'll notice is your marriage is going to slowly dwindle. The relationship with your kids is going to dwindle. And don't feel like you're isolated and alone. Do you know how many people I talk to that have therapists? Do you know how many people I talk to that have ED? Do you know how many people I talk to that have mental health problems? Enormous amounts. You're not alone. Like, it's almost like we're taking this wave over and be like, hey, do you want to come with me? It's like, I got a mental health and an ED. It's like, so do I. So do I. It's like, it's becoming, because men are talking about it more and more and more. I hate to say it, but it's almost more the norm. Like, try to find somebody in their 50s that doesn't have any problems at all. It's pretty hard, right? So I think that my message would be is like, go get help. It's okay not to get okay. Get your blood work done. Start working out, doing all these things. And there was times when my depression, so I didn't even want to put on my pants. I didn't shower for 3 days. Like, it was very bad. I had to get help. Again, it's not a skill set I possess. So the message is, it's okay not to be okay. Just don't stay not okay for too long and just go get some help.
Was your wife with you during that time?
My wife was with me not during my worst one. No, that was in my early 20s. So she was not with me for that one. Yeah, she's been with me through other stuff. I had a massive brain injury where I almost died, and that was tough. So she was there. I was in the hospital for 31 days. I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. So I'm supposed to be dead. So I'm every day above ground. I'm super grateful for it because I was that close.
She's been a rock in your court.
She's the best. I remember. I will cry. I remember because I was in my mid-30s and I couldn't walk. And truthfully,
why?
Because of the brain injury.
How'd you get the brain injury?
In hockey. I hit my head in hockey. Fell off, and then I went and ended up being in there, and then I was in the hospital for I think it was 31 days. Yeah, I couldn't walk. I couldn't even lift like my arm. It was very bad. And I remember I shit myself, and I was like, the doctor took me there, and my wife, like, she was holding me up because I couldn't be held up, and and I'm like, this is the rest of my life. And she stayed with me. We hadn't been dating that long, maybe 2 years. She stayed with me every day, was with her all the time. And, there was challenging times. That's for another time, but that was the hardest thing I've ever gone through. And my recovery was tough, but super grateful. Like, I'm normal right now. I can do whatever I want. I'm super, super blessed. So my other point is that everybody's going to go through something. Every person, there's a way to get around it. It's just, you got to just be as positive as you can.
Were you thinking about suicide during that time?
You want to know what? That's a great question. I didn't. So one thing my massive depression is, I have a massive fear of death, which is the universe or God, whatever you believe in, gave me, so that even at my lowest, the lowest I've ever been, I've never thought about it once, because I'm so scared to die that I'm like, I'll just stay depressed because I don't want to die. So it's almost like, I'm going to give you this so you never get, you know what I mean? So when your depression gets that big, the only time I thought where it was like, holy shit, is I had hiccups for 7 days straight and I didn't sleep, and they weren't sure if they would be able to get rid of it. During this time, I had my brain injury, and that was super challenging. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't think about it, but I'm like, man, this is awful. So no, like, very fortunately, I've never had that thought once. Thank God for everything I've gone through. That hasn't crossed my mind.
Wow. Now, having an injury in hockey, is that hitting the boards, like smashing your head against it? What
happened? Hit my head on the ice, and I was wearing a helmet. And then it just kind of came in. It was just a random brain bleed is what it ended up being. And then the doctor kind of like, Dave, I don't remember what day it was, but he's like, tomorrow's a big day. He's like, you're either going to die we're gonna have to do surgery, and there's an 85% chance you'll be paralyzed, or the bleeding will stop. And then, as by God or universe, whatever you believe in, the bleeding subsided, and then the recovery was tough. Like, I couldn't stand. It was pretty gnarly. But when you're super motivated and you want to do something, I'm gonna toot my own horn a little bit here. The day out I got out of the hospital, before I got in the hospital, I started Infill Hub, which is an infill for Calgary, for builders. The day after I got there, I had a bed because I couldn't walk. I had a bed on my main floor. I couldn't talk barely. It sounded pretty marbled. And I had a list of builders that I was going to call before I got in the hospital. I sat there the day after I got out of the hospital, and I called builders and I said, hey, I created this new marketing thing for Infill Hub. I just got out of the hospital yesterday from a brain injury. I can't walk. My front door is going to be open, and I booked appointments for people to come in. And I was pitching it to them, and I have to pitch from my bed because I couldn't get out. And they're like, okay, yeah, you got to give a guy like that a chance. And that's how I built to be, at the time, one of the largest infill realtors with my team after a couple of years. So anyways, like, it's...
So they bought from you for sympathy.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. It worked, right? And then it gets you in the door, and then you slowly build a brand, and here you go.
And it's interesting because you say something here that a lot of people, kids and everything, people don't realize, okay, and it's not a pity party.
Sure.
Here you are. You got your ass handed to you.
Yeah.
Okay, here you're laying there. Work still has to go, guys.
I got to pay bills.
Okay? Yeah, I got to pay bills. 100%. And then all of a sudden, I'm not having a pity party. I'm going to tell you, you know what? This is my plan.
That's right.
Mr. Builder, Mr. Whoever, listen, this is where I'm going to pitch you from my here because I have to. And that little thing that you just did right there, and all my listeners, when they listen to this, it's not about how big you are, how great you are. It's the little thing that you just did there. Go, no, I'm not stopping. Yeah, I'm in the hospital. That just happened yesterday. That's my story. And then you just proved it.
Yeah. And you can. And I think that's the thing. And that's why, like, for me, it kind of triggers me sometimes, to be honest, when people are like, oh, I just don't have the time, or I just have this. I'm like, oh my God, if you only knew. And I keep it to myself, but it's like, everybody's going to have something. That was my thing that got handed to me. I didn't let it stop me. I didn't let it define who I was. I'm like, I'm on a mission. Like, I was on, before this brain, like, we were just launching. And then so what ended up happening is, in the hospital, my assistant at the time came up to me, we're signing a lease. She's like, do you still want to sign this lease? Because it was for a bigger office space with, like, we're going to have everything out there. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, one of two things is going to happen. I'm either going to do it or I'll be dead. What are they going to do? Come after me for this lease? So I signed the lease for my hospital bed to still expand, and I couldn't walk. I'm like, I'll figure it out. And then I did. So the moral of the story is then the other thing too is, like, a doctor's told me, like, I wouldn't walk. They're like, you're not going to walk for 6 or 12 months. And I sat them down because I had a family trip planned about 45 days later. I'm like, well, I want to go to Disney. And they laughed. And they're like, you can't. I'm like, well, you signed this legal document saying that I won't die on a plane? And they're like, yeah. And they signed it. And it was tough. It was the hardest thing I had to do. But I started to be able to walk when I shouldn't have been. And I went on that Disney trip with my family.
And it's interesting because you said, can you sign this so I can go on the trip? And people don't realize this. You're signing it for one reason, so that your insurance will cover
everything.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, it's like, and they're like, yep, you won't die on a plane. Because with the brain bleed, you're like, you're up there. You don't know if it's going to come back. And they're like, no, you won't. I'm like, sign here. And they did.
And it's an interesting... And a lot of people and entrepreneurs don't realize, people do. And you hear about when they travel. This is kind of like an off-topic part. Is people travel and then all of a sudden they have a heart attack, or they have something that happens to them. They go, oh, I don't have insurance, so they do a GoFundMe or whatever. And the reason why they don't have the insurance is they didn't check their insurance before they go. Example, and I'm going to speak from experience. I have sleep apnea, or not sleep apnea. Sorry, I have an AFib.
Okay.
So they're saying you can't travel, and the doctors go, well, you can't travel yet. Every 3 months you can. Like if we touch you. You can't travel for 3 to 6. So because you need to be regular.
I see.
So the insurance will not cover you. So if you travel, you're on your own and you're going to pay your own bill.
Yuck.
And if people don't realize, check your insurance before you travel on any incidents that you have so that you're covered, because you don't know. So that was amazing.
Well, it's huge. And other people don't understand too, is that travel insurance is like $350 a year. A lot of people think it's like so expensive. It's like, if you're traveling, just get it. You're covered.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that either. So it's like, there's your free plug, is that, trust me, I've had friends that have gone in, haven't had travel insurance, because some people think it's thousands and thousands. It's not. It's a few $100. Go get it.
Sure beats a $250,000 plane
Oh
ride.
my God, I know, right? For sure.
Awesome. You know what, Brad? Thank you very much for coming on Shed Talk and knocking this out of the park.
Yeah, man. Have me back anytime. I loved it. Thank you.
You know what? Like, share, hit that button. You know what? See you guys later here on Shed Talk.
Now you know. Shed Talk.